Hi, I'm Nathan from Serious Geeks, and today I'm going to look at the Balance Dataslate in relation to Codex Necrons. Now, Necrons have always been an army very close to my heart. I followed them in 3rd edition and beyond, and they are visually and thematically an army that I really enjoy. I was always a big fan of the Catan. I loved the otherworldly, Lovecraftian-esque vibe that you got from these creatures of unknowable power and unknowable intellect. Recently, 9th edition Codex, it's made my Necrons absolutely boring to play. Much of the abilities they have on the table are very limited. I mean, reanimation protocols, which is a key theme of the army, it's a key facet of the theme that they live up to. It only works for 1 wound models really. It can work for 2 wound models, maybe even 3 wound models in a pinch if you're really lucky with your dice rolls, but ultimately people have just been loading up on 1 wound models. All the extra stuff that is included in Codex Necrons, including the new units like Cryptek Destroyers, they've lacked a little bit of the army rules. But now Games Workshop have introduced the Dataslate. They've given a bit more teeth to the Necrons and a few more interesting ways to play. I still think the Codex is boring as sin to play with. Hasn't got half the toys and combinations that the other Codex books have, and a lot of the theme and character isn't there, particularly with character building of your actual units. But this Dataslate has gone a long way to giving you a little bit of different dynamics on the table to be able to play with. So what has it done? It's given the core keyword to some crucial units within the army that are not basically the normal core units, such as Locust Destroyers, Cryptek Destroyers, Flayed Ones, Wraiths. Now, as far as character and theme going, it's not going to change the Codex completely. It still needs an overhaul as far as I'm concerned, but there are some nice interesting combinations there. So overall, I'm going to give you a summary straight away now. I quite enjoy it. I think the changes are needed and they're going to bring Necrons back to the table. So we will go into a little bit of detail, not too much, but what you can see with the core keyword added to key units such as Cryptek Destroyers, Locust Destroyers, etc., Flayed Ones, you can use certain things like Technomancers to a greater effect with them. It seems that apothecaries and other armies can raise just about anyone from the dead, but for some reason Necrons couldn't do so. Now, Technomancers can raise 1 model from the dead that is a non-Necron Warriors unit, still a core, or D3 Necron Warriors. Now, where this is absolutely crucial and brilliant is the idea of bringing a Cryptek Destroyer back to life, or a Locust Destroyer. These models are higher in value, they have more wounds, and bringing 1 back a turn is a lot more valuable than bringing 3 Necron Warriors. So immediately straight off the bat we can see that Technomancers are going to come back in a really strong way. People are going to be using them with Canoptic Cloaks to be able to follow the Necron elite assault units up the table, or they're going to hang around with the Locust Destroyers and keep up with them as they dart around shooting things and raising things back from the dead. It's a great little move. Another one I quite enjoy is Disruption Fields. +1 strength characteristic on a Necron core unit. Well, give that to Cryptek Destroyers or Flayed Ones and you have a really potent assault force. It's brilliant. That only costs 1 CP, and Flayed Ones, imagine 20 Flayed Ones now at strength 5, they're going to carve through things, especially if you use some of the other stratagems on them, such as the ability to fight twice that the Flayed Ones have. Now if we look at the Cryptek Arcana, excuse perhaps the mangling of this word, Hypermaterial Ablator, I believe it's Ablator it could be, I'm not sure. These Necron words can be quite difficult to pronounce, and to be honest, a lot of these war gears have never been used. This war gear is particularly good though because it enables a core unit to count as being in light cover, which is essentially +1 to its armor save. With this Arcana, a Cryptek can really benefit a large unit of, say, Flayed Ones, giving them a 3+, because they're going to be counted as in light cover, or even given a 2+ equivalent to a Cryptek unit as it's marching up the table, more than 12 away from the enemy. Some people don't like the fact that it's got that criteria of more than 12 away from the enemy, but let's be honest, if you've got an assault force and they're within 12 of the enemy, you're going to be charging them, so it's actually really good. And lastly, let's go over the Night Scythe, which has a little bit of a cheese move now, which is going to make Necrons quite obnoxious to play against in tournaments. Don't do it against your casual friends, because you may lose a lot of friends that way, unless, of course, they are aware of it and they know countermeasures. Now, using the Prismatic Dimensional Breach, you can bring core units from a Night Scythe or a Monolith anywhere that is not within engagement range of the opponent. Now, consider that Knight Scythes are flyers and they can pretty much arrive anywhere they want to on the table. You can get a melee unit to have a guaranteed turn 2 charge against any target pretty much you want, depending on the opponent, how they deploys. Consider 20 flayed ones coming on as a core unit from a Knight Scythe, turn 2. There's nothing the opponent can do to stop them getting to where they need to be, except for zone out with their units, which is going to cause all sorts of problems for the opponent. Likewise, Cryptek Destroyers can do very similar, though with Whirling Onslaught and the fact that you can give them a 2+ armor save with light cover thanks to Cryptek Arcana, yeah, I wouldn't bother with that. March them up the table, but if you want to be really sneaky and get a turn 2 charge, then this is the way to do it. I'm still not entirely sure that monoliths are brought back into the game and any particular relevance, because let's be honest, you can use a Knight Scythe for this, which would be cheaper, but it's nice to be able to at least have a monolith being useful in some aspects of the game. Remember, they can teleport in themselves. So overall, there's some combinations. Obviously, people are starting to look at things like Veil of Darkness, but I still maintain that that is probably better for a shooting unit such as Immortals or Warriors, which are already core anyway. But overall, there are some nice little combinations that can be done. Not a massive amount, but some nice little ones that just make a little bit of a difference to how Necrons play on the table. Funnily enough, it looks like there is going to be a heavy melee focus in a lot of Necron units, which is very different to how Necrons have always operated in the past. I quite like melee, so it's not a problem for me. I know some people are a bit upset by that, but for me, I like getting stuck in. I like Cryptek Destroyers, so it's ideal. I don't think the Necrons are going to be Dark Elder or Adeptus Mechanicus sort of broken after this, but I think they will have an ability to at least compete on the top tables in some competitive settings. Anyway, that's it for me today. Let me know what you think below. Always like to hear from you guys. Thank you for supporting the channel, and I will catch up again with you all soon. Peace out.